In the vast realm of online gaming, one title stands out for its breathtaking beauty, dynamic gameplay, and community like no other. At least that's how I'd intro this if I was some kind of games journalist. But there are many reasons that make Guild Wars 2 a standout game, not just among MMOs, but among games in general. Myself, as a longtime player, could talk for hours about those reasons. I've done it before, but this time we'll be taking a quick look at 5 more reasons that make Guild Wars 2 a gaming experience you don't want to miss out on. First off, we need to start with one that I think many serious players or long-time players, myself included, tend to forget about, and that's the stunning, beautiful fantasy world that the game is set in. The game features a visually stunning, diverse open world with a wide variety of environments to explore, from lush forests and towering mountains to sprawling cities and underwater realms. Exploring Tyria can be a breathtaking experience and a huge time sink if you love to explore video game worlds. Just looking at footage of the open world, it's very apparent how much detail went into designing the landscape, the thought and care that went into designing the world, the passion that the designers have, or rather still have, for creating a beautiful world that players can explore and get lost in. If you're the kind of player who only cares about hardcore raiding or PvP dunking on your opponents, then okay, fine. This is probably something you won't notice or even care about. But then I really do pity you because you're missing out on the fact that you're essentially walking your character through a work of art that was created for players to experience and enjoy and fall in love with. And there's so much of it to be explored. The world is massive. One of my fondest memories, not just with Guild Wars 2, but with gaming in general, was back around launch time. I 100% explored Queensdale and then decided to zoom all the way out on the map for the first time. And then I got to see just how big the rest of the world was and how much left to explore I had. And since that moment around launch time, the world has only gotten bigger and keeps getting bigger with every expansion. So the next time you find yourself feeling burnt out, take some time to relax and explore the fantasy world. It can be a really relaxing and almost therapeutic experience. Now, building on the discussion of the world, we have to touch on the concept of dynamic events, specifically the unique spin that they put on questing. Guild Wars 2 replaces the traditional questing system with dynamic events that take place in the game world. These events can trigger in response to player actions and have a cascading effect on the world that makes it feel more dynamic and alive. Usually when it comes to questing, you just talk to an NPC and they supply you with some tasks that you just go about doing, or you don't. And the world is no better off or worse off. Things stay the same. But dynamic events are different. They're technically the same as a quest line, but they actually happen and play out in real time. And some of them can even influence the world in some ways. For example, let's say some undead monsters hold claim over an area and some soldiers want to go and reclaim it. A group of soldiers will actually spawn and go and try to reclaim it. And if players aren't around to help them, they will fail and die, leaving that area overrun and inaccessible to players. But if you do show up, you'll be rewarded like a quest reward, and that area will be open for player travel. And that's just one simple example. There's so many different types of events and tiers of difficulty. Some events may just be a simple single task, others might be steps along the way to fighting a world boss, which finish with a climactic fight against the world boss. Then there's map meta events that are a long series of events that tell the story of an area, ranging from just a small section of the map to an entire map itself. But I think the most important detail about dynamic events is the fact that they are always happening everywhere, no matter what. Anywhere you go in the world, there is always some action happening. There's always something to do. This is what makes the world feel alive. In fact, right now, while you're watching this, there's still events happening that you're missing out on. They still happen with or without you. Okay, now every game has quite a few classes to choose from, or professions, as Guild Wars 2 calls them. This allows for a variety of gameplay experiences. You can experiment with different professions to find your favorite. We've got Guardian, Warrior, Revenant, Ranger, Engineer, Thief, Mesmer, Elementalist, Necromancer, each with its own unique abilities and mechanics. For example, Guardians have virtues, a way to buff themselves and allies. Warrior has adrenaline burst attacks, powerful attacks that are unlocked in combat. Rangers have pets, thieves can steal skills, Elementalists can switch elemental attunements to get a full new set of skills, and these mechanics also change depending on what elite spec you run. Some of these elite spec changes result in a completely different playstyle for the profession. It opens up a whole world of possibilities when build crafting, but it doesn't stop there. Each profession even has different skills with each weapon. Let's say you equip a greatsword on a warrior, you'll get the warrior greatsword skills. But if you equip a greatsword on a mesmer, you will get the mesmer greatsword skills, which are completely different. different, and so on for every profession and every weapon. And this provides a difference in playstyle for every profession. The way one profession uses a weapon might be completely different from the way another one does. A melee weapon might turn into a ranged weapon depending on who's wielding it, and not to mention all the different animations they've made for every weapon on every profession on every race. Another subtle detail that makes your profession really feel unique. A lot of players can't even decide on a favorite profession, so they actually just play them all, which in some cases is the recommended course of action, so that way you can actually learn what every profession does, you know, the mechanics and everything. Now, there is no way we can talk about Guild Wars 2 features without talking about character customization. Some people say the true endgame of Guild Wars 2 is fashion. There's so many ways to make your character look unique or fit your style or match a theme of some kind. Between character races, weapon skins, armor skins, a huge collection of dye colors, mount skins, cosmetic infusions. Starting with your character race, you've got 5 to choose from. Each of them all look really different, except for Norn, which is pretty much just big humans. But hey, I hear some people are into that. Each race can be customized to meet your preferences, with things like hairstyles, faces, body markings, fur patterns, horns, tattoos. They even have special armor skins that only a member of that race can wear, called cultural armor. And when it comes to armor skins, you'll notice different races wear some armor skins slightly differently. But perhaps the most important detail about character customization is the wardrobe system. This is a cosmetic system that allows you to change your character's appearance at pretty much any time. Once you unlock a skin, it will be added to your account wardrobe, and then it can be used by any of your characters that use that weapon or armor class. Now, there is of course a currency involved in this, transmutation charges. Changing the skin of any item is going to cost you 1 charge, but charges are pretty easy to come by. There's a wide variety of ways to get them. I often find myself stopping and admiring what other people have done with their look. There's even an entire website dedicated to just character fashion. It's actually really cool to see what's possible. You might find some inspiration for your own character. When it comes to the community, I honestly have to say that Guild Wars 2 has probably some of the best community interactions I've ever experienced. And this is something I see brought up consistently on discussions on why Guild Wars 2 is great. The game has a dedicated and friendly player base. There are always good people around no matter where you are. I've had experiences in games before where maybe I'll ask a question in the global chat, only to be left with silence, or someone explaining how stupid I am for asking that, or someone just insulting me with slurs, as if that's supposed to be funny or some sort of epic troll. But in Guild Wars 2, you'll actually experience the complete opposite. There's always helpful people around willing to spend some time to help others. Whether it be answering simple questions, helping with an event, helping with build crafting, maybe even giving out some gold or extra materials to those in need. It really seems like there are some players whose idea of endgame is helping out others. It can be seen very often that new players don't really struggle to complete content, simply because there's always someone around willing to offer help. Even in the PvP game modes, which are typically known for the more intense players, there is still the presence of these helpful, friendly players out there. Even if you're the type of player who tends to keep to themselves, it's nice to know that this supportive, friendly community is out there. It feels like the community you can actually be proud to be a part of, instead of the ones that you are embarrassed to admit you're a part of. Now, there are many more things that set Guild Wars 2 apart, but I think I've done enough talking for now, and I'm sure many of you would love to offer your insight as to why you love Guild Wars 2, or why you hate it and why you think it has failed as a game. There's always a few of those. Well, whichever side of the fence you land on with whatever opinions you have, I will simply say fair and valid. Alright, well that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, or found it interesting.